one thing you probably noticed, professor can talk forever. I remember many, many years ago when I started teaching, I had to prepare tons of material, working in the classroom, make sure I had material to fill out all the time. Now, 30 years later, I can just walk into a classroom without anything, just start talking. So that's the character of us. So you have to tolerate that. But I try to make it short, see if I can keep it within 30 minutes to save everybody's time. So I'm from Arizona State University. If you don't know, it's actually the largest university in the U.S., private and public. And I think it may not be an official number, but we have probably 70,000 students in the university. Engineering school alone, we have about 5,000 students, which is the size of, regular university. Like if you think about Harvard, Yale, that's about 5,000 students. So engineering school alone has about 5,000 students. So we are largest university. And so today I'm going to talk about data mining and data analysis. So it's a new algorithm we developed to discover the data association. Then I'm going to talk about how we actually apply this algorithm to a problem probably you all can understand to identify engineer retention characteristic. So, for example, we have 5,000 students, engineering students, and there may be 2,000, 1,500 students each class come to engineering school the first year. But at the end of the first year, 20% of them left the engineering school. So we have 80% retention rate. So what's the problem? We obviously have the number, and then we want to achieve the quality, in terms of engineering retention and graduate success rate. So we try to use this new data mining and data analysis algorithm to address this particular issue. And some of you may contribute to this particular research too. So the new algorithm I'm going to talk about, the goal is to overcome some existing problem of data mining and the data analysis algorithm. So if you look at everybody, I don't know how many people are familiar with data mining, knowledge discovery, machine learning, data analysis. If you look at all these existing algorithms, one common shortcoming we actually see is they all try to build one model that fits for all values of the variable. So suppose you try to discover the data relationship, okay? But in reality, in many, many fields, let's say if you try to figure out what's the relationship between x and y, right? Just two simple variables. And maybe for when x equal to 1 to 10, and there's, let's say, linear relationship between x and y. But when x is from, let's say, 11 to 100, and there's a nonlinear relationship between x and y. Some cases, maybe 1 is equal to 11 to 100, there's no relationship between x and y. It's actually very, it's happened in many, many cases in the real world. So, but if the existing technology try to fit one model across all value of x, that model will definitely be a poorly fit to your data, right? Because let's say even there's a different relationship over different range of the data, or there may not be relationship over a certain range of the data, you try to fit a model to it, so you won't get a good fit. So that's the problem. We recognize the shortcoming of many existing data mining, data analysis algorithms. So that's one problem. That's the first point I mentioned there. And the second point I mentioned there is many techniques, they require you to know what are the independent variable, what are the dependent variable. But if you give me some data set, large data set, I may not know what are the dependent or independent variable. I just want to find out what data association, what data relationship actually exists from my data. So, for example, I mentioned if you consider example decision tree. Let's say if you want, it's a very popular data mining technique, right? If you think about using decision tree to discover some knowledge, you have to specify which variable I will use as the target variable or dependent variable. Which variable will be independent variable? Suppose I have 100 variable, right? And I don't know exactly which variable is dependent, which variable is independent. Then I have to build 100 decision tree to consider each variable as dependent variable. Nobody is willing to do that. We're talking only 100 variable. What do you have more variable in the real world? So that's another problem we see. And then many algorithms, also the third point I mentioned there, have difficulty of handling mixed type of data. So your data may have categorical data, may have numerical data. Okay, and let's say if you're talking about decision tree, it's good at handling categorical data, then you have to convert numerical data into categorical data. Okay, if you talk about neural network, it's good at the numerical data, and you have to play some trick to represent categorical data. Okay, so that's another problem. Obviously, there's an issue, how do we capture, multivariable data interaction? So where I really do not have a good algorithm handling those issues yet. So I mentioned in the example the decision tree. Decision tree allows you to capture maybe different relationship over different data range. But the problem is, as I mentioned, you need to know which variable is dependent, which variable is independent, which is not very convenient when we now have that knowledge. That's the purpose of data mining. I want to know, I want the data to tell me which one is dependent, which one is independent. And if you think about artificial neural network, it also requires you to know which one is dependent variable and which one is independent variable. And then, like I mentioned, it's as difficulty to handle categorical data. The one thing I don't like artificial neural network, I know it's very, very popular those days, is it does a good job, let's say, in classification, prediction, but it won't tell me what data pattern it has been learned in those neuron connections, processing unit connections. So how do I gain the confidence in trusting the result? And that's why there's a story artificial neural network can be easily tricked by some noisy data to make it perform so badly. Because, you provide good data to neural network, it does its job. When I feed a little bit noisy data to it, it can completely change its performance. So I don't have anything to verify what's going on inside. So that's one thing I don't like it. And a lot of tasks, I know, automatic driving vehicle, you don't need to know the data pattern learned there. You just need, as long as it does the classification prediction correct, I'm fine, right? But there are a lot of tasks I really need to get the explicit data pattern and to understand what's going on. Okay, so those are some problems of existing data mining, data analysis algorithm. So to overcome, try to address those issues, we actually developed a new algorithm. It's called PVAD. It stands for Partial Value Association Discovery Algorithm. So it actually includes 3 steps. The step 1, we actually, let's say your data has both numerical and categorical value. The step 1, we try to convert the numerical variable into categorical variable. Okay, and because we need to break the data value into ranges, into categories, so we can identify different relationships exist over different data range. And step 2, once we have all variables become categorical variable, we'll discover their partial value data association. And step 3, we consolidate those data association, and you can present it in a network of data association. So let's take a detailed look. So I'm going to show this algorithm using a small data set. This is called chemical data set. And you can see we have 16 data record there, and we call instances. And we have, let's say, you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, temperature is one variable, ratio another variable, and so first, for variable after instances, they are original variable. Now you notice the contact has numeric value. So we actually convert it to a categorical value. And the conversion is a numerical value to we convert it to categorical value. This is how we do the conversion. Okay. So we first take one variable that is numeric variable and we sort them. Okay, like say from smallest value to largest value. Then we identify the data cluster, so I can actually plot those sorted values as you can see there. And you can see there's 3 data clusters. Once you sort it and plot it, you can actually recognize those data clusters by those arrow points. Okay, so I didn't show you we have algorithm to automatically recognize the arrow point. It's actually not easy problem if you want to do it automatically. Visually, it's easy to recognize. But if you want to do it automatically, let's say imagine you have millions of data points, okay, it's just hard to visualize that. So we do have algorithm to kind of recognize those arrow point automatically. Now you can use some existing data clustering algorithm like hierarchical clustering to, generate the data cluster. But when you use, for example, hierarchical clustering, let's say I try to cluster 1 million data points. Most clustering algorithms require you to compare pairwise distance of data. So that's 1 million by 1 million matrix. It will crash your computer a lot of time. You cannot, the software cannot handle it. Won't produce the result. So that's the advantage of this algorithm. Take one variable and just simply solve it and plot it and recognize the arrow point. So it's more computational efficient. Okay. Now once we convert all numerical variable into categorical variable, we discover partial value data association. Now as you can see in this figure, there's, suppose you have one variable, and you can try to discover one-to-one association. It comes out in the form at the top. So you say x is a variable, y is a variable, and a is the value of x, b is the value of y. So the association of one-to-one will be if x equal to a and it's associated with y equal to b. So let's say there's 2 variables involved in one-to-one association. Now there's all combination of association like m to 1, 1 to m, so that's a whole matrix of association. So you do have a combination explosion problem there. So what we try to do is to kind of provide more systematic method to actually help you navigate this combination explosion better, more efficiently. There's no way anybody will be ever to get away from dealing with the combination explosion. Okay, it's just how you can do a little bit better. So first, for one-to-one association is very simple. We say if you try to find if there's a data association between x equal to a and y equal to b. So for example, you can count in your data set how many data record you have value x equal to a. And among those data record, how many data record has also y equal to b. If, let's say, you say this ratio, we call it its concurrence ratio, you can set the threshold greater or equal to alpha, let's say equal to 0.9, okay? Then you say, okay, there's strong association between x equal to A and y equal to B, okay? So for example, in this particular data set, we have x3 equal to this value associated with x4 equal to that value, and concurrent ratio is 1. Now we have method. So once you have one-to-one association in the corner, so we have method to allow you to start extending out to find 1 to 2, 1 to m, and 2 to 1, m to 1, or many other associations. The method we use, one is to allow you, so suppose you have K to L association, like you have 1 to 1 association. This method will allow you to extract, let's just say, 1 to 2 association using the result of 1 to 1 association. So I gave you an example here. Suppose I already have association x3 equal to that value associated with x1 equal to 1100. And I also have association x3 equal to that value associated with x4 equal to 15 to 20.5. And if these two associations satisfy the condition we described there, they have same conditional variable and has same inclusive supporting instance, and we say the next association exists too. So we have x3 associated with x1 and x4. So that's one method that allows you to expand the right-hand side of the association. Another method allows you to expand the left-hand side of association. So for example, let's say if you notice the two lines highlighted in bold, so we have x3 associated with x1, and then the last line in bold, x3 associated with x4. So we kind of organize them in group that way, and when they satisfy certain conditions as we specify here, we can actually combine these two associations. So if you look at this, we basically can move x4 as to the right-hand side and has the x1 to the right-hand side. So that's what you see in the final association. So when they satisfy those kind of conditions, you can actually combine them together. So you actually expand the right-hand side of those data association. So you can see these two methods allow you to explore all the combination of data association. And there's a special method. Let's say I'm only interested in, let's say, one-to-one association of, I'm plus one verb, but I'm only interested in n-to-1 and one-to-m association rather than anything in between, A lot of time you can see there are a lot of redundancies in this combination. Now you can basically combine those one variable, consider it as one variable, and another variable is one variable, and do one-to-one association. That's a lot more efficient. So we basically, like I said, you do face the combination explosion problem. Nobody has ever been able to get away from it. So we try to look for methods that help you navigate this combination explosion a little bit better. So in addition to the parameter alpha we use to measure the strength of data association, we also use some other parameter like beta. So we can actually use beta to remove association who has smaller set of supporting instances. So if the association do not have a strong support, let's say only 5 instances support this data association, we don't really care. Okay. We use another parameter gamma to remove the association where the conditional variable value and the association value more than basically they just exist in the data set, a lot of data set. Then their association are really not caused by their truly data association, just simply caused by their dominant presence in the data set. So we can use alpha to control that phenomenon there. And the third step we actually can consolidate and generalize those partial value association we got from step 2. So for example, if let's say your x1 is one variable, a1 is one value of x1, and if x1's every value has a data association with y equal to b, then you can say this x1 equal to a cover all value as association with b. So you can see by consolidation, generalization, not only we can discover the partial value data association, if the full value data association do exist, we got that out too by consolidation and generalization. Then you can actually plot, this data association graphically. Okay. Now, if you look at this is, you can see we actually accomplish our goal. We actually allow you to discover the partial value data association, and we don't need to know whether you have which one is dependent, which one is independent, and we can handle mixed type of data, and we can capture, multivariate association. Now, what I want to show you is something that may be interest to you for engineering retention. So like I say, I want to identify what I can do to increase the engineering retention. Okay. So the data we have are the 1,522 engineer students who entered ASU in fall 2011, about 1,500. So we have the data from their college application, like their SAT, AKtU, their AP, their high school performance, the GPA. We also have their demographic data too, okay? And we also have their first year ASU performance grade data. So they're totally about 97 variables for this 1,500 students. So we use this PV80 algorithm to identify first, this X94 indicate this student actually stay in engineering after the first year. So if X94 equal to no, that means the student left the engineer. Student may left the whole ASU or they may just switch the major, but that's what X94 represents, engineering retention. So, and then highlight some key one-to-one association from the discovery. Now, if you notice the first bullet, this is the group pretty much related to their ASU grade and performance in the first year. Actually, if you look at the literature, there are a lot of research talk about what determines somebody getting to STEM or engineer, and what keep them there. A lot of have to do with like what is their demographic background, socioeconomic background, those kind of things. From what we discover, their first year grade and performance at ASU is more critical than anything else. If you look at the first bullet point, that's basically average quant of DEW in the first year. That's basically the count of grades. You get A, B, C, D, E, right? If you get A, B, C, you earn credit. If you get D, W, you have 0 credit, right? So you can see for those students who stay engineer, the average count of DEW is somewhere between 0 to 3, small number. Okay, and if you did look at the GPA, actually GPA has a wide range, go from 1.11 to 4.22. And that's a spring semester, second semester, fourth semester 1.75 to 4.25. And their average count of AB is from 2 to 9, average count of A is 1 to 8. The number in the parentheses tells you how many students have this characteristic. Okay, so you can see last number. If you look at it, basically you can tell as long as the students are not doing poorly, terrible, they will stay. So if they get C, they will stay. As long as they don't get D, DEW, there are no credit. They will stay. Very simple. And that's actually the most dominant factor. We also try to also discover one-to-one association for x94 equal to n. And actually, so there's not much. There are only, basically a few hundred students falling into this, like 20% of students, falling into this category. And you can see the people falling into this category, their average count of DEW fall in the range of 6 to 7. So they got a lot of D and E and W. So that's basically consistent, tell you one thing. Now, when we look at it, there are totally about 172 students who has x94 equal to n. But that association for x94 equal to n only covers 16 of those students. So what we did is, let's look at other students, see, what's the characteristic of this other student compared to the whole entire student population. So those are the characters we see big difference between this small group and the whole population. So you can see in this group who actually left engineer, they take AP in basically STEP. The percentage of students in this group take AP in STEP is actually less than the whole population. And so that's one thing you'll notice. And some other thing you'll notice, like there are 4 GPA, spring GPA, and again, average count. So this basically tell you the same thing. So we saw, we really excited originally before we do the data analysis, we'll find something interesting here, right? Well, pretty much you can understand. If they don't do poorly, they will stay. And actually, last semester I taught, we call AKtU 101. It's a class for all freshman students. So I actually asked them, what made you choose engineer? A lot of people say, because my parents do it. It's actually a computer science student. They say, because there's a big money future in there. At the end of the semester, I asked, is your opinion change? At the end of the semester, there are 2 girls say they will leave. I said, why? And they say, because I'm not treated well here. So end up they had problem, talking to their advisor and to now know the right way to go. I say, if you had problem talking to your advisor, why do you email your program chair? Program chair will actually find the right person to help you. They don't know the right channel. Most time they just talk to other students. How the other student will ever to know the right channel of communication. Okay, so that's basically what we found out. So with all this finding, our next question is, actually during the time when I teach the AKtU 101, a lot of actually students, because that the purpose of class is to get them prepared for college life, right? I ask them, basically a lot of students ask questions, how do I become motivated to study? Can you understand? How many students here are undergraduate students? And the rest are a graduate student? Okay. So, how do you become motivated to study? If you look at the finding, really getting A may be very tough, right? Depends on a lot of factors. But getting B or even getting C is not tough at all. At least in my opinion. You just need to do some work. But can you see the link? So I got a question a lot. How do I get motivated to study? So I leave that as a question. Anybody have an idea? Yes.
Don't try to get all A's.
Yeah.
Just try to get B's.
Right. Actually, that's interesting. That's very true. But let me tell you one thing I actually learned. When I teach a course, there are always students come to you argue about grade, right? And I actually find out the students who come to basically, a lot of students do not have high expectation. All they want is, end of semester, Professor, I just need to get a C. So they don't expect to get A. Many students, they really don't expect to get A. So because I thought initially, everybody wants to get A. Oh, it doesn't matter if you gave them C, because all they expect is C.
Well, you have to titrate that out. There's a lot of students that expect an A, a lot that expect a B, and then there's everybody else.
Right. So the key, obviously, from this planning, how do we find those students who did poorly? How do we motivate them? One big question is, how do we motivate them to study? All they need is study to get a C. So that's our next question. What can we do to help them improve their grade?
I know the answer.
Yeah, what's your answer?
The answer is that you ask them what grade they expect at the beginning, and then you give them a half a grade higher than they expected, and they'll be very happy.
So how does it work? Say that again.
You give them a grade, a half a grade higher than they expected when they came into the course. You ask them what grade they think they're going to get.
Yeah.
If they said a C+, you give them a B-. You just predetermine their grade.
How do we help the student who end up getting D, E, or withdraw from the class?
They've got to work hard enough to reach their own expectations, and then you give them a little bit bigger grade. That's motivating.
Right. So obviously, at AKtU, we have all the resources you can imagine. We have tutor center, you have professor and TA, you have, basically career center, the study group, mentor, and all that, basically. Not many students use it, obviously. Okay, so that's still, and we have great tracking. We have the academic status warning system. You're falling behind. You need to catch up and all that. So anyway, that's the question we try to figure out. How do we help the student who actually fall behind? So now the algorithm I talk about it in this list of reference. And I also have two books actually related to data mining. I thought it's relevant here. So that's all I have. Any questions? Thank you.